As women's participation continues to move higher up in the ascendancy of Nigerian sports, only a few can argue it is time for Nigerian sportswomen to get more credits and more recognitions from fans and administrators alike. Driving this conversation was the crux of this year's edition of the Ladies in Sports Conference, pioneered by foremost female sports journalist Tega Onajaife and teamed It Is Our Time. In this video, we'll take you through the experience of the event.
We are here to celebrate Women Ladies in Sport Conference by Tega Onajaife.
I'm here to, try and be inspired by some amazing women who are breaking boundaries, doing amazing stuff around the world. And what better place to come and get more edified, more inspired than a place like this, the Ladies in Sports Conference.
It's a beautiful thing that women taking center stage in the world of sports to consolidate their efforts. I think more of recognition for them, more of sponsors, and when we have competitions like this, women should support women.
So I think to encourage more women participation, we need to give them the same level of support, preparation, and everything the men get.
The women athletes are really trailblazers in Nigerian sports, and they need to be celebrated. Every win, every success story.
There's still a lot of room for improvement. So I think at the end of the day, what we need is more investments. And by investments, I just don't mean money going to the players. I mean in terms of facilities, in terms of competitions, in terms of being intentional towards growing the women's game at the grassroots level, at the club level. So it's a lot of money and it requires intentional marketing. So I think that's where a lot of attention will need to go to if we want the women to take it to the next level.
Supporting of women athletes by the federations, by even the public and every stakeholder needs to be intentional. They also need to create a safe space for women athletes to be able to compete.
What I feel can consolidate this effort is when we in the media, we can push these achievements to the world for people to know that women's sports are also interesting. What you get from the men, you can also get from the women.
Well, I think the media has a very big role to play, actually. It's to promote them as the core of the sport. We always speak about empowering them. I prefer to say that we have to unleash their power because women have much more power than we believe. We need to pass that message in Nigeria, but not only, that from Nigeria to Africa and to the world.
When we think about sports in Nigeria, everybody thinks about the Super Eagles, for example, the men's national team. For those of us who are very passionate about women's football, we listen to ourselves, we think about it, and we think the Super Falcons who are going to Australia and New Zealand for the Women's World Cup. One of 7 teams in the world that have attended every single Women's World Cup organized by FIFA. Round of applause for our Super Falcons. And when we think about successful sports teams in Africa, it is the Super Falcons, period, men or women. Because also when we think about the successful teams in other sports or the successful athletes is women.
It's not only time for women to take leadership positions in sport. I think it's too late already. They should have done it long ago. So I think today, yes, it's extremely necessary. And they have these capacities to actually do it. And so we just have to let them do it.
I also support this, that women should take center stage for women's sport. I think it's a go-to for me.
It's not about playing the gender card. We have to employ capable women in the leadership role.
If women get more opportunities, they can do well. They are quite competent as well.
Women have proven that they can compete in sports and excel. They can work in sports and excel. Sports is not just for men. Sports is for everyone. And so it's important that you have women in these spaces to be able to make decisions that also favor women's sports, to be able to make decisions that show that there's intentionality in the development of women's sports in Nigeria.
In 2015, we realized that there was exploitation in sport. So we started working with the federations. We started researching and realized that in Europe only there were 25,000 African nationals who had been exploited in football only, and they had been put aside because they were not performing enough well. So after being exploited, they were stranded in Europe and not even able to return back home and not able to even mention to their family that they had failed. Because trafficking in sport is not actually that recognized, people do not see themselves as being exploited.
This is something that really isn't talked about in sports. But like Laurent has also mentioned, this is an area that a lot of people don't realize intersects with sports, and it is really, really something that needs to be proactively taken care of.
Yeah, we have noticed that there is an increase of trafficking in sports. So we need to actually collect data and share those information to the governments, to the institutions who are related to counter-trafficking, as well as the institutions related to sports, or the federation.
My take home definitely is that it is our time. Women's sports globally is growing. There were a lot of record-breaking attendances across all sports and globally in women's sports, and that's something that's commendable. That's something that should be celebrated. It definitely is our time, and events like this go to show you that there are a lot of women working in sports in Nigeria.
I think the most positive aspects I've seen here is the fact that there is an interest in what we have mentioned, but not only, but in the fact that women have a role. It's not that they must have a role, that they have already a role. In the room, we have women who are all engaged already, and it's beautiful to see that they are there, they recognize the role they can play. What I would like to see next time, after the 7th edition, is that there are men here to listen to them, because we are not enough to actually recognize the role they play. And so they can be vocal about it and can be proud, and they must show it also to the rest of the society.
There is more in our locker room right here in Guardian, Nigeria. So if you want to stick around, you can subscribe to our channel and tap the notification bells to get our latest videos. Thank you for watching this video.